Let's talk about the main event. Arman Tsarukyan versus Mateusz Gamrot. What an amazing main event this was. 5 rounds of elite level MMA. It truly lived up to the expectations of this fight when it was first made, because everyone knew this was going to be an amazing one. This was basically Damir Ismagulov versus Goran Kutateladze 2.0 with an extra 2 rounds at the end as well. This was amazing. It fully delivered. I know everyone right now wants me to talk about the decision because I don't agree with the decision. However, I don't want that to take away from how amazing this fight was in the first place. It was a very close fight. I don't agree with the decision. I just said that. I believe it should have been 3-2 towards Arman Tsarukyan, but I'll get to how I scored it in a second, because let's just say this. That was maybe the highest level MMA fight I've seen in a very long time. Fair play at times towards the end. The striking was a little bit sloppy. But there was reasons as to why it was, because in the first 3 rounds of this fight, the grappling that we witnessed was maybe the highest level grappling I've ever seen in an MMA fight. Honestly, this was one of the best grappling matches. I thought that maybe Arman would get the better of it and Gamrot would scramble early on. And my prediction was that eventually Mateusz Gamrot would have to really work hard to stuff some of those takedowns and then slow down as the fight went on. And maybe Arman would win the 4th round by TKO. But I didn't expect this. They scrambled with each other like absolute wizards in the first 2 rounds. I gave the first 2 rounds to Arman Tsarukyan. I thought he was doing a better job with kicks at range on the feet. He was landing some really amazing body kicks early on. A couple of glancing punches from Gamrot were landing in the first 2 rounds as well, but they both had equal moments in the grappling, scrambling all over the place like crazy. It was a real treat to watch. I mean, people were calling me out for saying that Umar Nurmagomedov's grappling match against Nate Maness wasn't too exciting, to say the least, but this is grappling I can get behind. They were scrambling all over. Gamrot refused to be kept on the ground. I think Arman eventually got like 1 official takedown on Gamrot, and Gamrot got like 4 on Arman. So Gamrot effectively did win the grappling as the fight went on. He may not have won it early on, because mainly he was like shooting and getting sprawled on, and Arman would get a better position, and then Gamrot would kind of just disengage or scramble to disengage. But there were moments where Gamrot was on bottom and he would just find his way out of it. He would buck, scramble, roll, flip over himself to find himself on top of Arman, and then Arman would like sort of roll with him as well and grab the leg, and he'd come up on a single leg, and then Gamrot would stuff it and shoot his own takedown, and Arman would scramble it, and then they'd be back up on their feet again. I mean, it really was remarkable that neither of these men died from exhaustion as the fight went on, because this was such high-level grappling, such high-paced grappling as well. I can only imagine how much physical strength it requires for them to be able to grapple like this for 5 rounds. But the decision is what people want to talk about. I've given the fight its praises. It was an amazing fight. Arman was winning the stand-up clearly early on. Gamrot was doing okay in the scrambles. I gave the first 2 rounds to Arman Tsarukyan. Some people gave round 3 to Arman. You're a fool if you gave round 3 to Arman. Round 3 was a clear Gamrot round, in my opinion. He started to land really good shots on the feet, a couple of jabs here and there, a really couple good solid straight right hands that were landing. Like, he was clipping Arman with some really big punches in this fight. And I'll say this, I thought that there's got to be a chink in Arman's armor somewhere. There's got to be. He's so good at grappling. He's 25. He's so good at striking. He's got crazy cardio. He's got good power of his own. There's got to be some kind of weakness. And I was thinking to myself, maybe he's got a weak chin. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it is. There's always a weakness for a fighter. Maybe Arman's is that he has a weak chin. Gamrot tagged him with some really good right hands, some really good left hooks on the temple as well. And Arman ate them. He ate them well, and he didn't get wobbled in any moments. So I thought that Gamrot won round 3. He had good grappling moments in round 3 as well. Ended up on top. I think he at one point had the back against the cage, kneeing the thigh of Arman. So he was tallying up total strikes. He was playing the striking game and playing that point-scoring game with Arman in round 3, having better moments on the feet as well, sort of having his own moments. Arman would still land really big body kicks that sounded so loud. It was like ringing through the arena, apparently, or ringing through the apex. Everyone could hear the body kicks. I wasn't listening, but the chat was saying, you got to hear these body kicks. They're slapping Gamrot straight in the ribs. And Gamrot was having moments on the feet, but he was winning the grappling. holding Arman against a cage. In round 3, I'll say this. As much as I thought Arman should have won, Arman is dirty with the cage grabbing. I'm going to be honest with it. Arman at one point in round 3 couldn't get back up and used the cage grab to get back up. And the referee watched him do it and just gave him a verbal warning, and the fight continued. Like, Gamrot at one point had Arman down. He had his sort of hand pinned. He had the body lock. He had one hook in on Arman against the cage. And Arman was like on his side, like posturing up on his right hand as Gamrot's just on him. And Arman just grabbed the cage and like yoinked his hips under him and got back up because of it. Like, he did do a few dirty things in this fight. And honestly, if the judge for Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori was in there, he might have had a point deducted for some of that cage grabbing, because I counted like 4 times in round 3, and maybe in like 5 times if you include round 4 as well, that Arman did grab the cage and use it for his advantage in some of those scrambles. And Gamrot was very clean in this fight, so that was a different thing. Gamrot did hit the back of the head a couple of times though, so you know, tit for tat here and there. But Gamrot at one point in the 3rd stuffed a takedown with a whizzer, landed some solid punches on the eye of Arman Tsarukyan. So round 3, I think, is no doubt Gamrot's round. If you scored it for Arman, you're biased or blind. Round 1 and 2, close, but Arman, more damaging shots, neutralized each other's grappling. Round 1 and 2 is Arman. Round 3 is Gamrot. Round 4 is the deciding round, in my opinion. Now, round 5 can go either way. Very close round. Both guys had their moments in round 5. Both guys landed some good shots. Arman still with those body kicks. I think he landed like a spinning back kick to the body in round 5 as well. That was pretty good. A couple of body punches with some jabs. Gamrot did the same thing back. A couple of jab 2s from Gamrot landed, and a couple of right hands over the top of the jab from Arman Tsarukyan. So both guys had their moments in the grappling. Arman maybe did a little bit more in the grappling, and then Gamrot kind of just sort of grinded out takedowns at the end of the round and kneed Arman in the thigh and stuff like that. And visibly, it was like a Dillashaw-Sandhagen situation. Maybe it could go Gamrot. Not as much. I think Sandhagen-Dillashaw's pretty clearly Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, I think Sandhagen-Dillashaw's pretty clearly Sandhagen in the 5th when you watch it back. But Gamrot was visibly doing good things. Like, he was getting takedowns. Arman was starting to slow down a bit in round 5. Gamrot was like securing position, taking the back, trying a rear naked choke attempt, landing some little shoveling punches there as well. Like, he was playing the game of total strikes to show that he's winning the positions and looking good in the judge's eyes. At the end of the round, he gets a takedown stuffed and Arman lands a couple of body punches. That round genuinely can go either way. I think I scored it for Gamrot live. I could see it going Arman's way, but that's not the deciding round in my opinion. The round where it really should have been decided who won was round 4. I do believe. I think that's the most contentious round here. Watching it live, I had Gamrot winning round 4. The stats they showed in round 4 weren't correct. Gamrot landed good shots. Arman landed good shots, maybe better shots on the feet. Good body kicks, good punches of his own. Gamrot never really seemed rocked in the fight. But Arman was like getting hit by some big shots, not really wobbling or anything like that. Like, Gamrot was hitting some really big right hands and some good jabs and going to the body and landing some front kicks to the body and stuff like that, and shooting a takedown and then digging 2 punches to the body as he got back up. And I think at one point in the 3rd as well, Arman was like defending on a single leg, which he is crazy good at, by the way. Amazing flexibility and balance. And Gamrot's like jabbing him in the face as he's got a single leg over his shoulder, just punching Arman in the face. So that's where Gamrot was sneaking some of these scorecards, in my opinion. Like, on the single leg, he was just punching Gamrot in the face with a jab and stuff like that. And round 4, a moment happened. Arman landed a spinning back fist that, watching it live, I said was a big knockdown for Arman Tsarukyan. My chat all said it was a slip. Not all of them. Some of them were saying good knockdown. But majority of them were saying it was a slip, and it wasn't official, and it was a slip. And to be fair, it didn't look that clean, but I just was watching extra close. When the rounds are this close and you know it's going to go to a decision and you have that feeling, you got to watch close. And I was watching close, and I watched round 4 and I saw that spinning back fist land clean on the chin of Gamrot. I saw a bit of spit as well from Gamrot, and he slumped after that. He went down to the canvas. Some people saw it as him shooting a single leg because he was rocked, but I think he tried to make it seem that way. He got clocked by that spinning back fist, And it was an official knockdown on the UFC stat page, on the official stats. It was a knockdown. It just was. And the replay afterwards confirmed it. Without that knockdown, what we questioned at first, Gamrot might win round 4. He had the back at the end. He was trying to rear naked. It wasn't quite in. Landed a couple of total strikes again. It's what he was doing. So round 4 outside of that can go Gamrot's way. It can go Arman's way. It's a very close round. But Arman clocked him with that spinning back fist. And when we watched a highlight afterwards in round 4, it landed flush. It landed flush. Spun Gamrot's head. Credit to Gamrot for still toughing it out, because crazy that he got through it to get rocked in the 4th like that. But spinning back fist landed from Arman, spun the head of Gamrot, and he did slump. Like, it wasn't a shot takedown. He slumped to the ground, and he hit the ground on all 4s, and then shot the takedown afterwards when he came back to, because his recovery is that good, I guess. But that decides the 4th round. And that decides the fight. That decides the fight. And I think when the Weasel breaks this down, he's going to look at rounds 1 and 2 being clearly Arman Tsarukyan, but close. But I think quite clearly Arman Tsarukyan. I think the Weasel's going to score round 3 for Gamrot in hindsight. Round 5 for Gamrot. I think he's going to look at 4 and 5 is what he's going to look at to score. I think he might go round 5 for Arman, round 5 for Gamrot. We'll see what he does with that one. But I think it's going to come down to him scoring round 4. And that spinning back fist was a knockdown. You can't change that. And watching the replay afterwards, that's round 4 that's round 4 Arman. That's 1, 2, and 4 Arman at least. He should have won the fight at least 48-47. I'm being unbiased here. I know I picked Arman. I was wrong about Gamrot's cardio. He looked like he was slowing down against Carlos Diego Ferreira, but hey, he had great cardio here. And maybe he just doesn't have a good poker face for it. You know what I mean? Maybe he just looks more tired than he is because he's open mouth breathing. You know, he's shaking out his arms because of the lactic acid that's building up in his arms and stuff like that. So maybe he's just got less of a poker face for being tired, and everyone else is as tired as him, but they're just not showing it as much. You know what I'm saying? So I was wrong about his cardio. I accept that. But Gamrot won rounds 3 and 5, maybe. Round 5. Definitely round 3. Very close fight. 1, 2, and 4. Arman Tsarukyan. That highlight replay. The spinning back fist landed flush. Clean on the chin. Spun Gamrot's head around. He dropped. Official knockdown on the revised stats. On the live stats. Arman wins rounds 1, 2, and 4. But arguably better for the division that Arman didn't get to the top yet. I'll be honest. He's going to come back with a vengeance. He's going to be on a redemption tour. He might be overconfident coming back and maybe a bit too aggressive, and maybe he gets clipped. Who knows? I'd like to see him versus either Damir Ismagulov or the loser of Rafael Fiziev versus Rafael Dos Anjos, which is in like 2 weeks' time, so it makes sense schedule-wise. But yeah, take some time off, Arman. Improve. Come back at the end of the year. Don't rush to come back in October after a 5 rounds like that. Come back in November on the pay-per-view prelims. Main event the pay-per-view prelims against Damir Ismagulov, or maybe, again, the loser of Fiziev RDA. Maybe it'll be on the opener of the main card if it's against the loser of Fiziev RDA, to be honest. But yeah, maybe better for the division that Gamrot got his chance now. So am I angry? No, I think I would much rather see Cater versus the top guys than Josh Emmett at featherweight. So I was more angry at that. Plus, I think that was way clearer. In all honesty, I think that was clearly Cater 2, 4, and 5. For the same reason, he knocked Emmett on his ass in round... Same reason. With a jab, knocked Emmett on his ass. Why are the judges not seeing that? That really confuses me, man. But very close fights, both ways. Except the clearer rounds in Cater Emmett were more clear than the clearer rounds into Tsarukyan Gamrot. So it was a really close fight, but close fights can have clear winners. But Mateusz Gamrot called out Justin Gaethje. I think he beats Gaethje. I think he'll melt him and drown him. He's 31. It's arguably better for the lightweight division that Gamrot at least gets his chance. Because if not, Gamrot goes back to the drawing board after a loss, comes back in December, maybe wins against another guy to rebound himself, and then needs another 3 wins in a row. and he'll be, what, 33 by the time he gets a title shot. At least now, he can come back at the end of the year against a big name at lightweight and try and get a title fight as a 32-year-old. And that'll be better for him. So it's better for the division. It's incorrect, in my opinion. Arman 1, 2, and 4. But an amazing fight. I'm telling you, man, these Europeans and Eurasians are just different level skill right now, man. Like Garam Kutsteledze versus Demiris Magulov, and then we have Arman versus Mateusz Gamrot. Like, just pay attention to KSW. Like, KSW's got some guys coming up. I'm telling you, Roberto Soldic, if he's not on roids, which I think he is, if he's clean enough to get past USADA, he's a problem as well for everyone. Saladin Parnas over at KSW as well. I think he might be on the Paris card secretly. I don't know if it's announced yet, but I reckon it will be soon. He's a problem too. But yeah, really good performance. I thought Arman won. Both guys have nothing to be ashamed about. The scrambling was great. The striking was great, but close fights have clear winners, and Arman should have won. Not that angry, though. At least Gamrot gets his chance, I guess. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye. Yeah.